It has been a busy couple of weeks. It is now the 1st of April 2024, and I've been back and forth with Xanthi on the cover illustrations and the illustrations that are going to be inside the book, as you can see behind me. And I have heard back from the first developmental editor. Funny enough, this was the cheaper one. They came back first. So they were a cost of £90, and they estimated 2 weeks and they delivered in exactly 2 weeks. So I have a 5-page report on what they think could be improved within the manuscript, but they said, honestly, the nicest things. I'll give you a little snippet of what they said. The plot is great. It was funny, wholesome, and heartwarming story of Cam finding love in Finn and navigating other interpersonal struggles in and beyond his friendship group. The romance was sweet, electric, and full of chemistry, one you could really root for. The humour was lively without being mean-spirited, helping to enhance the romantic and sensual tones of the story. The romance developed in a believable way, coming to a satisfying conclusion in the end. And like, hearing that from someone who clearly reads a lot of books and doesn't really owe me anything, they have no relationship with me, they're not gonna give me a nice review because they know me, they're just genuinely judging the book as it was. To hear that was incredibly gratifying and made me think, okay, I'm doing the right thing by getting this book out there. So I had a little weep and read it out to my friend Gary, and the improvements, it was like 70 to 80% of what they said I agreed with. There was a couple of things where I think they had maybe just misinterpreted it, so I need to make sure that I go back through my manuscript and make sure that the things that I wanted to communicate through the story are true. But let me show you what I've been doing with Xanthi. I basically briefed to Xanthi that I would like to have an illustration for the chapter heading for each chapter. So that's 16 designs altogether. And I gave her the manuscript to read. We narrowed it down to the things that we think would work, and then we kind of chose one to work on. So these are her rough designs. This was the very first document she sent me earlier this week, so she did a hot dog for chapter 2, some chemistry, and like every single one of these, like we had notes for. So this one, for example, I was like, I think it would be better if the boots were to the side, because in the book they're Timberland boots, and I think it would be easier to show that they're Timberland boots if they were facing the other way. These are predominantly the final ones. They're not all there. I think there's still chapter 12 that needs to be done. Xanthi found this font and it's perfect. I think that whole layout looks great. So the Timberland boots, for example, that orientation just makes it more prominent and you can see exactly what they are. We had a lot of trouble with this one, chapter 11. I think on the original design, chapter 11, we were going for like this roller coaster seat, but it looked a bit odd. Like even though I know it's a roller coaster seat, I don't think a reader would necessarily know that it was that, which is why we ultimately ended up with the log flume, which I think is a bit easier to identify. Already, it's really nice being this involved in the process and just getting it done quickly, because Xanthi is like me. She's when she's deep in a project, she's just like, okay, I've done this, what do you think? And then we'll go back and forth, and because we're quite quick at replying, we can turn this around, us two together, a lot quicker than what a publisher maybe would do with a different illustrator, because there's a lot more cooks in the kitchen if you're dealing with a publisher, because you've got the sales team involved, the marketing team involved, PR, all sorts, and also the whole design team, whilst it's just me and Xanthi, and we can kind of knock this out. And sometimes I'll run things by Gary and say, like, what do you think about this? And he'll give me his feedback. So yeah, I am really pleased with how things are going. I've got one developmental editor to hear back from. I've got a final quote from the proofreader, and they've quoted me $600, I want to say, for turning the whole manuscript around in 3 weeks, which, it's not a cheap cost at all, but I can't in all good conscience send a book to print without it being 100% perfect. Even with proofreaders and stuff like that, there are still mistakes that end up in finished books, but I would like to do everything I possibly can. The first developmental editor who came back, they've already given me loads of bits of grammar that I've missed, for example. So hopefully that would have been Xanthi's review, 1 developmental editor, 2 developmental editors, and a proofreader. If a mistake has slipped through the cracks in all of those 4 eyes, so be it. You know, I've done everything I possibly can. Today is April 4th, 2024, and it has been a very exciting and busy week. Xanthi and I have been working on the cover, which is a lot of fun. I had a meeting with a marketing agency yesterday because whilst I could do this all myself, I feel very like I haven't worked in marketing for a company in 7-8 years, and so I feel very underprepared for buying advertising in this current climate. These systems seem to change all the time. Like Facebook is now Meta, TikTok is its own beast, and that wasn't around when I was in the marketing world. So I just thought I wanted to have a discussion about potentially bringing some people in, and it went really well. I basically said like this book is very similar to like Heartstopper, Red, White and Royal Blue, Love, Simon, and the woman who's at the agency who will most likely be looking after me as a client, she was like, oh, well, I worked on Love, Simon when I worked at Penguin. And I was like, what? So technically the book is called Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda, but so I was very excited by that. And just talking about my book and what I do and everything, I could see her excitement about it. And you really need to have like, if you're going to have people working with you, for you, whatever it may be, it's hard to find people who are as excited about what you're working on as you are. You know, like this is my passion project. And so to see her excitement about it, I was like, okay, yes, I'll take you. And we basically spoke about like the importance of book talk and what the campaign budget is, all those sorts of things, and basically lock those down. So yesterday I kind of got a kick up the arse and thought, okay, well, I need to really start locking down dates and working out a timeline. So on my little whiteboard there, I've basically done a flow chart of the text document, like what needs to be done. So I've spoken about when I need to finish my manuscript edits. I need to say, I've said like when it's going to proofreading, when it'll be coming back from proofreading, who like is going to be formatting it, ready for the printers. And then also I've gone through like at the bottom, like release and shipping dates, because I need to keep an eye on making sure that the international orders, which typically take like 5 to 10 business days to be delivered, that they go out at least a week before, that any press copies or complimentary copies that are going out to friends and family, they need to go out like a week before that, and make sure that all of the text document stuff lines up with having the books delivered in time to do all the deliveries. With me? So I was playing with dates a lot yesterday. Fun stuff though, cover. So me and Xanthi didn't have a clue, really. I let her read the book and was like, what do you think the cover should be? She was like, oh. And the thing we kind of both spoke about is the fact that because the locations are so varied within the book, because there's not like a very particular item, there's not a very particular scene, like they've all got their reasons, but they all work together to make it a story, not just one that happens to, like, if you imagine if you set a romance novel on like the coast of Italy, you would have a very specific looking cover, whilst in this one it goes through all 4 seasons and they go for very different places, etc. So I basically sat down with my sketchbook, which I haven't had out in many a year, a few nights ago, and basically just came up with some random rough designs. So because there's a scene at a theme park, I built like I drew like a roller coaster as a heart. I did a version of Xanthi's bench. So one of the illustrations within the book is that there's like a bench, and I was like, okay, well maybe we could have some like hearts on it or something. Then I also came up with like a possible dark room, like maybe they're like in the dark room and you can see the dark room door. And I think there was a few more versions that I did. But ultimately, I showed those to Xanthi and I was like, play around with them, let me know what you think. So let me show you what we've been kind of going through. There's been a long process in this. This was the first document that Xanthi kind of showed me. We didn't really have any sort of direction on colour. I liked the idea of like a bright colour or something. So she came up with this initial design, and honestly, as soon as I saw this, I was like, this isn't the one. And likewise, she did like a very basic version where maybe there was a quote on there or something. Maybe we actually were quite literal about it and put the pride flag on it. Again, I saw this, I was like, this isn't the one. And then she kind of put together some like random concept drafts. And out of everything on this, these two kind of like caught my attention the most and made me think, maybe there's something there. Also, ignore the colour. I had specified that I really like this colour, I want it on the cover. But once we started going through this document, I was like, this colour does not work. So that colour has since been scrapped. But I was like, okay, I like this, I like this. I definitely want the bench in there somehow, and I think I'm going to have the characters on the front as well. One of my initial things was that I really didn't want the characters on the cover. It's such a almost like a cliche within the genre that you have the illustrated versions of the characters. I didn't necessarily want them on the cover, but the more we kind of like played with it and thought about it, and like in wanting to explain exactly what the story's about, there wasn't really another way to do it. I thought about symbolism and all that fun stuff, but realistically, if you want to get someone to pick up the book, and, you know, hiding him in itself, the words could very much be anything. You know, it could be a thriller, it could be, you know, hiding the body, or like hiding your split personality, you know. So it could be a Jekyll and Hyde story. There was very different genres the name itself could end up with. So from there, I basically fed back, listen, I don't think we found the one yet, but let's scrap that turquoise blue that I'd chosen for some reason. Let's focus on the bench and let's involve the characters and stuff. Likewise, maybe think about some of the other concepts that I've done, and we'll go from there. This was the next delivery. So Xanthi drew them sitting on a bench together. Then she drafted the darkroom idea that I had. And obviously these are not complete in any way, shape or form. These were just like rough sketches. And there was the roller coaster heart. And once we started going through these, and I spoke to my friend Gary about it as well, who's very good at like having an opinion on these sorts of things, I was like, this is definitely out. This is a maybe, but as of right now, it would need a lot of changes. Like I was like, this would have to change, this would have to change, this would need to be like reformatted and reshaped and everything like that. But this, both Gary and I and Xanthi all agreed that this is probably the strongest one. But there were some few changes that we had to make. So Xanthi made it clear that this position will probably have to change. Like I had specified, maybe there's a head and shoulder, maybe there's this, but Xanthi kind of came back and said it could say like bereavement. It could look quite sad. Because of the positioning, you might not actually know that this is a boy and this is a boy. So we've been tinkering with that quite a lot. So this is where we're up to right now. So this is the original concept from the previous one that we've decided to work on. We used some kind of case references for the sort of style we're going through, but Xanthi's colour style is very different to all of these, so we knew it was going to look different. But in looking at these, the things I noticed were I liked the fact that the outline of the illustration itself was a little bit more simple. And I also noted that the characters are always separated, whilst as what we've got right now, they're very clearly together. We were working on positioning, so Xanthi had thought, okay, well, let's try and make it more clear that they are in a relationship or they fancy each other or something. But in kind of going back and forth between these and this, I have given some feedback and chatted with Xanthi that I'd like them to be separated. I also want to swap them round because as of right now, Finn is here, Cam is here, but Cam is the main character. And most people read from left to right. So I want to make it clear that this is the main character and then Finn is on the other way. We spoke about the way they're going to sit on the bench. I want Finn to look more casual, and I want them both to be looking at each other as well. Xanthi did like a hand-drawn version of the sans serif font we'd used on the concept just there. But I thought this looked a bit too weird. Like it was just making my eyes go a bit funny. Like it should be
straight edges, but it's not. And I was like, well, let's work on this. And she had done 4 examples of different texts that we could use. And I really liked this one. It wasn't exactly perfect, but I liked this one. I liked the fact that the letters were thinner. It looked like there was more text than there really was. I wasn't sure about like the brushness of it, the fact that there was little white spots in it. But I basically said to Xanthi, can we straighten all these characters and basically do a version of this font that is that thin, that rounded, that sort of look.
In theory, the next stage is going to be seeing the final sort of line, black and white version of the position, the font and everything, so that we can hopefully move on to seeing different colour schemes and stuff. The pre-order's going live next Friday, which is all of, oh gosh, 10 days away. So I have got a lot of work. I've got a very long to-do list of making sure the data is added to the Nielsen database, making sure that the listing is ready to go up on my website and all the blurb is done. So yeah, best get a move on. Today is the 5th of April and I have just had a very exciting delivery from the printing house CPI, which is the company I'm going to be using to actually print Hiding Him. They have sent me the samples for the case. So even though it's going to be a hardback and has like a jacket around it that's actually got the printed like cover and details on it, they need that for like the actual hardback that's going to be underneath the jacket. So if you took the jacket off, this is the type of thing you would see. And then they sent me samples for end papers, which are the little piece of colour paper, or potentially white, that will join the textbook to the actual cover. And then they've also sent me foiling options. So part of the quote that I got with CPI was that they included foiling with that. So if I want foiling on the cover, that's something that Xanthi and I can talk about and choose which colour exactly we want to be on the cover. So it's all very exciting. These are the options for the actual case. So I really have no idea which one to go for. I like this colour. Kingfisher I've looked at before as potentially being the actual front cover colour, but I think we've diverted away from that now based on the artwork that Xanthi's been generating. So yeah, I think it very much depends on which design we end up with for the cover. I like blues and natural colours and stuff like that. Even fawn looks really nice. That would be quite nice with like a blue end paper maybe, speaking of which. So these are the end paper options. And then there's foiling options. They did warn me that anything that's non-stock basically means that it has to be brought in from a different supplier or something like that. So it can take a lot longer for these ones in particular. And I'm pushed for time, so we're sticking with what is currently in-house. I did like the idea of silver. So there's some silver ones there at the bottom. But there is this one, which is like a silver, but it's almost like a holographic silver, almost like a rainbow. So that could be like a nice little hint to the pride flag without actually having it on the cover. What else has happened in the past 24 hours? I have potentially found an audiobook actor to do the voice for Cam. I thought about doing it myself, but I'm not Cam, and also I wouldn't be able to act out people's voices in the way that I want to if we go down that way. It might just be like a very much a narrator speak over in the voice of Cam. Still working on that. So I basically asked him to generate some samples of like the tone of voice for Cam and with character voices, without character voices, and we'll kind of take it from there. But yeah, it's all very exciting. Like, this is actually happening now. I'm terrified. Genuinely terrified. It's coming to the point where like ducks are now sitting in rows and like I'm making decisions of what's actually going to be on the finished product. Now I just need to make sure the manuscript's completely finished. There should be the other developmental editor coming back later today. And then I will be making edits over the weekend and then sending that off to the proofreader, who will be the person doing it, giving it the final check. Not only that, like so much has happened. I wanted to get a picture of me for inside the jacket. I had spoken to Xanthi and I was like, do you know anybody who does headshots or have heard of anyone good? She's like, yeah, I've got some friends who recommend someone. His name is, I want to say Paul Madeley.
who's based in London. He's done loads of headshots for different actors and West End people and that sort of thing. And so I reached out to him. And what's really lovely is he's a queer person who seems to really support queer people in the creative industry. And we had a very quick phone call where he basically was just like, I just want to know what you need the photos for, like what you're doing. And I told him everything about it, and he was so lovely and supportive. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting this guy. And he was even like, when I was booking in the photo shoot, which I'm going to be going to not Monday, but next Monday, he was like, oh yeah, what music do you want to listen to in the form? So I put like Pride anthems, which will be great. And yeah, like it's all very exciting. But in the process of doing a photo shoot, I need clothes. So I just spent £250 in Next, buying some jackets to potentially wear. And the general idea that Paul and I were talking about was potentially a jacket with a plain colour t-shirt underneath it. So I could have like a blue t-shirt with this one. I could have like a white or salmon t-shirt with this one to like match the little pocket square. And I've also got this one, which I really love. And what was really nice was when I tried these on, I'm not sponsored by Next, by the way. I genuinely felt comfortable in them and I look sexy. Or as Keira Knightley says in Love Actually, look quite pretty. So I'm more excited about the photo shoot now. I was very anxious when I booked it. I was like, oh God, I don't like being in front of the camera. Like, I'd like being in front of the camera like this because I'm in control of the situation. But somebody else taking pictures of me, I'm like, but now I feel a little bit more confident about it. I've actually got a video call with him a few days before, so we can go through the outfits that I've chosen, and then he can choose the backdrops that he's going to use for the different outfits. This weekend's going to be very busy doing the manuscript and everything, but things are happening now, and I actually genuinely see the finished product in my head, which is even more exciting. I haven't seen it in my head for the longest time because I had no idea what the cover was even going to look like. And one thing I really want to kind of make sure I have in the finished product is it looks professional. I don't want it to stand out by looking self-published or like lesser than. And that's why I'm going to like paying for a photo shoot and paying for the professional formatter to do it. Like, those are things that I can do. Like, I could just get my friend Gary to come around to take some pictures of me and stick it in there. But I know I can do better. I know that I think this is worth spending the extra money on to have it done completely professionally and know that I've done everything to the best of my ability. So as of right now, everything is a negative number. Everything is a cost. And that bit's not fun. You know, if you're self-publishing your own book and you're watching this thinking like, oh, this will be fun. No, it is fun. It is fun. The bank balance is not happy though. It's not. And I'm hoping that once the pre-order goes live end of next week, people will start pre-ordering it and I can start making back some of the money that I spent on this. But at the moment, it's well over £1,000 that I've spent on this book so far. It must be. And that's not even been printed yet, you know. Well, it is because I spent 400 on the one developmental editor, about another £100 on another one. £600 is being spent on the proofreader, plus the formatter, and then audio. Yeah. Whew, it's anyway. Let's not talk about that now, because now I'm gonna go cry. But anyway. To the manuscript! Please excuse my dishevelled appearance. It has been a bit of a day. It's been a very good day. Basically, we're nearing the finish line in terms of having the cover ready because the pre-order is going out in 4 days, which is freaking me out, but we're getting there. And there's been a lot of back and forth with Xanthi and I in finalising what the cover's going to look like. And the vision I had in my head is probably as far away as you can get from what we've ended up with, as you can possibly imagine. Like, my initial thing was like, okay, well, I'm thinking very basic. I don't want the characters on the cover. I want it to be almost symbolism. But you know, as we've kind of worked through it, being like, okay, well, this isn't really going to tell the story, and like, isn't really going to explain it. And the whole point of a cover is to sell the book. So I've got loads of printouts and drawings and that kind of stuff that we've kind of worked through. And I'm going to kind of show you the stages of development that we've gone through in ending up with the draft cover. So this isn't the finished cover, but this is the draft cover that we've ended up with, and the color scheme and everything. And I'm really happy with it.
This was one of the first illustrations that Xanthi delivered that was kind of approaching the finish line. I didn't really know what Cam looked like, but I knew this wasn't him. So that was quite tricky for Xanthi in particular, because I kind of gave her some brief descriptive things. I know what he sounds like, I know what his attitude is like, but I had literally no idea what he looked like. Also in terms of positioning, I kind of gave Xanthi some notes of the kind of repositioning that I thought let's push them aside, let's make it so that there's a little bit more mystery about it. We don't want it to look like they actually end up together, to kind of give you some do they, don't they about it. That kind of went into this design. Xanthi gave me a few options of Cam's head, because it was really important that he looked, you know, cute and probably a little bit more timid than what Finn does. And she basically nailed it with the first example that she gave me, but I did have a few options there. That kind of went to color work. The only problem with coloring is that as soon as this happened, Finn kind of changed a little bit. Like, his face wasn't necessarily looking the right way that I wanted him to. His skin tone, we were wondering if it should be the same skin tone as Cameron or like a little bit different. It was really hard to kind of pin that down. So from there, I kind of gave Xanthi some more specific notes of what I thought needed to change on Finn to make him look like the kind of original concept. So his chin needed to be changed a little bit. I thought he had lips at this time. Just a line would have probably been better. His eyes a bit bigger. His eyebrow, for example. And that kind of led us to the finished illustration, which we then started putting on different coloured backgrounds. So my original concept was blue. So I thought white text, blue background. So these were the kind of options we were going with. You can see in the illustration here, like, it can significantly change from what the first one was. They look very different. The positioning is very different. We had to work a lot on Finn's actual position to make him look like he was naturally sitting on a bench, because sometimes his leg would look like it was levitating or something, but I think we've pretty much got there. And Finn is looking cute as ever, which is very important to the story. But looking at the blues, we were like, this looks too easy. Like, it looks too simple. Like, I have a lot of queer YA books on the shelf there, and I was like, this isn't going to stand out, you know. Blue is so commonly used. It will just blend in too much. So we started playing around, and I was like, let's go really out there and try a peach, or perhaps a yellow. And we noticed that the yellow in particular really made the illustration stand out really nicely. The peach was a good contender, but comparing like the yellow to the blues, if you were looking at a bestseller shelf in Tesco or something, or even just going through the bestseller list on Amazon, this would stand out way more than one of these. We then started thinking, okay, well, you know, we do have foiling options for the actual text. It's not necessarily going to end up being white. So we were looking at the different foiling options on here, and I thought, that red would be quite nice. And my friend, who has been my friend for the longest time, we did art together in school and everything, she came over and we were looking like, okay, what if we partnered that with the yellow? And so we've ended up with the final draft, which looks like this. So there's a little bit more work that needs to be done on it. This is obviously a printout, so it's not exactly as it's going to look. It looks a lot poppier on a screen, which is great. And then in terms of choosing case and end papers, we figured that this looks very yellow on like the camera, but in person this looks a bit more pastel-y. So we thought that yellow would go quite nicely with this. And then for end papers, which are the bit kind of inside the book, so I'll give you an example. So this is the case cover, so that's the sunshine. And then this page, which joins the text to the actual physical card, This is called the end papers. So in this example, it's white, but I'm going for cherry, which looks like this. And this is like, as of right now, this could all change. But right now, we're heading towards a cover.
And no one's more surprised about this than I am, because the original brief that I kind of gave to Xanthi was blues and browns and, you know, whites, make it very like masculine coded and that kind of stuff. But going through it, I was like, it's been done. You know, it's been done so many times. Even just looking at the different books that are currently in the LGBTQ romance bestseller list on Amazon, I was just like, there's so much blue here. There are covers that literally look like this, you know, what we were originally looking at. And I said to Xanthi, I was like, what do you think of yellow? She was like, I love yellow. She was like, I really love the yellow. And I think me saying like, I'm not sure on the blue kind of gave her permission to really say how much she liked the yellow. And it just stands out, you know, it really does stand out, whether it was on the shelf, whether it was on digital, it does really stand out. And now we've kind of ended up with, you know, branding colours. I'm excited. I think we're nearing the finish line. I think it's looking like its own thing. And it looks like a book. So, tick, 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 I guess. One of the things I wanted to do in filming this vlog of the whole self-publishing process was to be as honest as possible, show you the ups and show you the downs. Today was a down. It was like, it's the closest I've come to just being like, I can't deal with this anymore. It's too stressful. I'm out. The announcement was meant to be in 2 days. And today was basically just an absolute waste of time, because I essentially filmed a video last week to put up on my YouTube channel, went to edit it today, and it's all out of focus. I then was like, well, I have to refilm this, started refilming it. I clearly wasn't like in the mood to film it, so I could see that in the footage that I got back in the computer, and then all the files corrupted anyway. So the universe basically said, you are not filming this video, you are not putting this video out, end of. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. And I just, you know when like, and then the little things started to really drive me mad. Like, I'd get my like sleeve caught on door handles, and it's not been fun. It's really not been fun. But all is not lost. I called my friend Gary, who, if you're a regular watcher of my YouTube channel, you know Gary very well. And I was like, would you mind please coming up this weekend and helping me film a video that I can just post that's just us having a great time, but I can announce the book in it. And he's very kindly agreed to do that. So I owe him one for this. Gary, if you're watching this, thank you. Love you very much. So I'm not a salesperson. I don't really ever want to do the hard sell and be like, buy my book, because I'm not the Leonardo DiCaprio character in Wolf of Wall Street. I am the creative person who's like, I wanted to make this thing. But I am very aware that I can only make this thing if it, people actually buy it. Will they? I think that's the stress that I've got right now. Like, even like now I've said it, like it's literally boiling over in my head. This has been my baby for years. It really has. And now I'm banging on the door of actual real human beings reading it and seeing it and judging it. And there's a lot of me in this book. There is a lot of my personality. There is a lot of, a journey I went through in coming out and all that stuff. So I don't know. I feel very vulnerable at the moment. I'm very nervous. I'm very anxious. I'm stressed. I'm dehydrated. I'm hungry. But I'm hoping if I just get a good sleep, then everything will be fine. I've got a meeting with the lady I've been assigned at the marketing agency. I signed with them officially today, which I think has been probably another thing stressing me out, because that costs money as well. And everything just seems to cost money at the moment. I have no money left. It's all gone.
Not to mention my tax bill came at the same time. Of course it did. So, like, yeah. I really hope people pre-order this book, because if they don't, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh, God. Anyway, she's very well versed in YA fiction and promoting it. I've got a lot of faith in her. She seems like a good laugh, and I think is going to be the person who helps take this book further. So we will see. In terms of like how much marketing agencies cost, I can't disclose the exact contract we've got, but it's about 20% of like what you're going to spend marketing budget wise. At least that's my experience anyway. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow is better. This weekend has been wild. Wild in the Isles. It is currently Wednesday the 17th of April. Sorry. Hello, Eddie. How are you? Nice to see you. I'm now dog sitting for the next 10 days. So Friday the 12th of April was when the book got announced. So I launched the pre-order, and I actually filmed a whole video like launching it with my friend Gary, who very kindly came up to help. So I will put some clips in from there.
This has been many years in the coming.
This is it. I have got the website loaded up in front of me to see if anybody happens to come to the website and pre-order it. There's a visitor on the website now. There's 2 visitors on the website now. I haven't even posted it yet.
I've already posted about it. No, I haven't.
God. Ready? Ah! Okay.
The laptop sets on fire.
Oh my god, this is actually terrifying. Okay, so then I need to post this one. Right, it's done now.
It's out there.
It's done. There's nothing more I can do. People know about it. It's out in the world.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah!
Or...
Oh, I'll have the red.
red, I'll have the yellow. Say hello to the vlog, everybody! Hi, vlog!
Hello!
If you want to see yourself on YouTube, say hello!
Still rocking that Silhouette, girls. Well, it's not really...
No, you said you're Velma.
I'm Velma now, yeah. Oh! Hey! Oh! In the mouth.
After the launch on Friday, Saturday we took a very chilled day. We had exerted a lot of energy doing like the live stream and everything. So we thought, okay, well, let's just take a chill day. Let's check on everything that's going out. Maybe put up a couple of posts on Instagram. And then Sunday, I had my friend come up from London. We had a nice chill evening, and I kind of needed that chill evening. I needed just to like step away from it for a bit to actually let it all sink in, because it had been very overwhelming, and the number of pre-orders that have come in has genuinely blown me away. The fact that people are pre-ordering a book that they haven't even read yet, like that baffles my mind. That's how much faith people have in this book, which, if I think about too much, I'll just start crying again. People started using the word proud in a live stream the other day, and it just knocked me for 6. It really did. So it's been a very emotional few days. Monday, I took the train back down with my friend to London. We went our separate ways, and then I went to a photo shoot to take headshots for the book. So within the jacket, there's going to be like an author profile, maybe a black and white photo, maybe a colour one. And that was a very nice experience. I had the lovely Axel do my face ready for the photo shoot. And then Paul Madeley did the actual photos. He's very popular with doing like colourful headshots. He's very supportive of other queer creative people. And so doing an LGBT book, it just kind of made sense to work with him. And he was amazing. I'm actually looking at the photos later this evening and then deciding them. And then I'll show you the ones that I go for. Then on Tuesday, which was yesterday, it was admin day. I had obviously 4 days away from my computer doing
seeing friends, doing the launch, posting on social media, etc. And then it was admin day. I had to do, paying invoices, bookkeeping, emails, etc. And then today was half chilling out, half doing things. But unfortunately, I think in my venture to London on Monday, I've caught something. And so I'm getting ill. So thankfully I don't have to go anywhere because I'm looking after this one. But yeah, not ideal. Not ideal. Thankfully there's nothing major on right now. The vast majority of pre-orders I think have come in the first few days after the announcement and everything that I was going to be able to get through social media. And thankfully, enough has been made on pre-orders to actually print the book, which is exactly what I hoped would happen. And exactly what I needed to happen. So thank you. If you're watching this and you happened to pre-order a copy, you are the best. You literally made printing the book possible. And it looks like I might be able to order more copies than I was maybe planning on doing. So I had originally got a quote for 2,000 copies, 3,000 copies. But it looks like, based on the number of copies that are sold right now and how many I would like to sell once the marketing budget starts kicking in about 2 weeks' time, probably going to need to order 5,000. That's not to say that I've sold 5,000 copies. I haven't, but you need to make sure that you print the right amount, because if you don't print enough and then all of a sudden people want to buy it on release day, you kind of need the copies there. You can get more printed, but the printing process takes about 3 weeks. And if for whatever reason there's a big production that's going through, that might delay that process. So you don't really want, especially on release week, people to be waiting, at least booksellers anyway. You don't want them to be waiting for supply. So we'll see. I think that's the right number. I could go less, I could go more, but I think I'm playing it safe in like a middle area, and I'm hoping that even if it sells slowly, that should hopefully cover it for a year or two. But yeah, now the pre-orders have come in, I feel a bit better. Like, I'm like, okay, thankfully some of the money has been made back that I've been spending. But now comes the marketing spend, which is actually more expensive than printing the books themselves. Never ending. It's the next day. It is Thursday the 18th, I think. And my entire weekend has just gone up in smoke because not only am I ill, but the proofreader has just come back, which is both exciting and terrifying. In theory, the proofreader will give me a document, or has given me a document, that is ready to go. Like, it can literally go off to the printers now if it wanted to. The only thing is, I've started reviewing it, and they recommended things that are grammatically correct, but there are sentences that a teenager just wouldn't say. So I'm kind of going to have to go through the whole manuscript again, line by line, and check whether the thing that she's done is what I want the character to be saying. Because, even though you might have to be like, and then is the correct grammar, some teenagers obviously wouldn't necessarily use that. So looks like I've got my work cut out for me whilst being ill. But amazing that it's been delivered early. She will be getting the best review ever because it's come back so early, which has bought me Uber? It's bought me a lot of time, which is great because that will hopefully mean that I can send it off to the formatters early. That will hopefully mean that I can get the ebook done earlier. The audiobook can be started. Yeah, it's really great news. I just have to plow through this. So goodbye weekend. Here it is, the final version of the manuscript. Now printing. It's not necessarily the final version, but this is just my sense check version. So I'm hoping
this should all be right. And I'm going to read it through like I'm reading it for the first time, because I haven't read it back in quite a few weeks. Apart from just doing edits here and there, I want to read it as a book and kind of go from there. The proofreader managed to do some amazing work with like putting in all the formatting in the right places and that sort of thing. But they had put commas in places that I wouldn't have put commas. And I very much want like the book to have a conversational tone to it. So there's a few things I had to fix. Once I fixed all that stuff, it's all printed now. And I'm going to go and read for a long time. The final read through is underway. I have my trusty little orange pen that I like to go through the manuscript with. I'm actually really happy with it. There's only like a few times where I've found a word that I'm like, that could be better replaced with this. So like on average, there's maybe like 2 or 3 changes per page that I'm thinking, that could be better. But actually, because it's already been proofed and everything, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it could go to print right now and be grammatically correct. But there's just a couple of things I'm like, that slightly changes like the flow, or it improves it slightly. So it's definitely been worth doing this. And it's quite therapeutic reading it back, like reading it as one whole thing, because that way I can have that reader experience I haven't had for a while, because I've kind of been reading it in like chunks and like editing bits and bobs, but nothing that gives me context of what's happened and what's coming and everything. So I'm really happy with it, and that makes me happy. Shut up, Adam. It is April 20... What day is it?
A Monday?
It is Monday, April 22nd. I'm on the phone to Gary. We have just listened to the Tortured Poets Department, Taylor Swift's new album, all the songs, 31 of them. And I'm currently going through the edits that I have made and making corrections. And it is taking forever.
Another day, another process.
Another day, another sleigh, as they
But
say.
as I just said to him, when it comes off the machine and you've got it, people have got it in their houses and they're doing pictures with their book, the book, it will be, that's my book.
Yeah. I don't see that right now. All I see is every single little piece of orange thing is another job to do, and I'm like, So
Nearly there.
they're tiny little things, like they're literally just like, as I've gone through the manuscript, I'm like, that line doesn't need to be there. And, changing words to make them flow better and stuff. But hopefully...
This is part of the process. Thankfully, the final process.
Yeah. Like hell, I'm reading this again. No offense. I love this book to pieces. I've ridden it?
It's a lyric. I've read it so many times.
I've read it 8 times, and I love my book, I really do, but I don't love it that much. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd of April, and I think today has probably been the hardest of this whole thing. I haven't got anything left in me. I really haven't. Reading the manuscript back, because it's not just like a reading it back like a leisurely read. I was so like reading every single word, and like, I'm not sure if I've even mentioned it in this vlog, but I'm pretty sure I'm dyslexic. And I have to really focus to read. I can write like a steam engine, but when it comes to actually reading things back, I have to take it really slow and like speak it through my head. And there was quite a few instances where I was like, just like mixing the words up in my head. Dyslexia. And just thinking like, this doesn't make any sense, and then coming back to it and then being like, no, it does make sense. And so that's just like really exhausted me, plus being ill all week this week, but not really having a choice to chill. Some might argue that because I'm self-publishing, I do have an opportunity to chill, but I am very aware that the proofreader coming back early bought me time that I don't just want to waste now. Like, because if it gets delayed because the printers, or it gets delayed because of the formatter taking longer, or the ebook taking longer, or whatever it may be, I need that time for then, not for Adam's got the sniffles. So I don't know, I'm not in the best headspace right now. I'm writing the legal pages that come before the actual book itself, And then I'm also writing the acknowledgements and like the author note, but I'm not doing an author note. I'm doing a letter to my younger self, hoping that it will, even though it's addressed to a younger version of me, that it will maybe apply to someone. And it's quite cathartic for me to write that because, you know, the whole idea of the book has basically come from my life in some way, you know. Even the Bully West is based on an actual bully I had, you know. Anyway, so yeah, it's the past 4 days have been about 15-hour days, and I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And I'm dog sitting at the moment, and I love Eddie to pieces, I really do, but having him to think and worry about at the same time, and like he wants cuddles and he wants to play with toys and like, ugh. So I agreed to give you the full tea of making and self-publishing a book and everything like that, and you'll have days like this.
Today is Thursday the 25th of April, and I've just received the samples back from the typesetter. So the book's all been proofed and everything, the Word document is good to go, and so I've sent that over to the typesetter, who then reversions everything to look like an actual book and can send it off to the printers from there. So with the samples, he's given me what the chapter headings will look like. And with this already, I think the space between the head, like crossing paths, and the one is too big. So I might say either bring the one down or bring the illustration up just to make sure that it looks nice and even. I've then also got samples of what the actual manuscript will look like in a book. And this one has what they call running headers, where you've got hiding him at the top there and the name of the chapter, crossing paths, on the other side. Or there is an option without. And I think I'm leaning towards with, because I've looked at some other books. So I've currently got Gay Club from Simon James Green. He doesn't have them. But then Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez. That one does have them, and just looking at it, I'm like, whilst I was reading this book, it was quite nice just to be reminded, like, who wrote this? And like, oh, what's it called again? So I think I'm going to go with them. I think I probably will. I will call my friend Gary and just see what he thinks. I know what he's probably going to say. He's like, no, clean, no headings. But it's my book. I'll do with what I want. But yeah, so I've just got a feedback to him. Let him know what I would like to be changed, what I want to go with. And ultimately, I just need to check, like, the margins are nice. So there are some little cut marks. I don't know if you can see them on here. And so basically, I just need to put a ruler along them to see where the page will be cut and what the actual page will look like. Initially, I thought the margins looked quite big, but upon reflection, it's quite common within other books for them to, especially YA, for them to be that wide. Today is Saturday, April 27th. I'm currently working on the cover sleeve. So this was sent over by Xanthi a couple of days ago. She's away this weekend, and it kind of needs to be sent off on Monday to order wet proofs. Now, wet proofs are basically like a test run of the jacket to make sure that we can check that the colours are right, that the foiling is right. And it's quite expensive. To order 100, which is the minimum, is £550 or thereabouts. So yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow, but better that than printing a few thousand of them and then getting the first copy and being like, this doesn't look right, you know? So they take about a week to be made. Ahead of actually ordering them, I'm printing out the individual pages of this because obviously it's, if I print out on A4 piece of paper, I won't be able to see the actual sizes. So I print out the different elements and I'm going to mount them on this piece of card so I can get a look at what it looks like in terms of layout and change anything if I need to before I order the wet proofs. Had a meeting with Gemma, who's handling my marketing for, well, we're working together, but like she's taking care of the things that I don't know. And she was very insightful in terms of telling me about NetGalley, which is a service where people in the industry of books and reviewers and everything can request a copy of your manuscript ahead of it coming out. And they can potentially line up reviews for Amazon or
I'm self-publishing, so there's every chance that someone at a publisher might want to read it and then go, we could potentially do something with this. Today is Monday, April 29th, and it was a very interesting weekend. Very emotional weekend. I basically had an incident on the train where I stood up for the train manager who was being abused by someone who was clearly on something, and in the process got myself targeted in a homophobic way, and that guy ultimately ended up getting kicked off the train and arrested for his abuse towards her and me. So it was a very eventful. But I don't regret standing up to say something. I'm quite, I would rather be the person who stands up and says, you can't speak to someone like that, than just sit by and let somebody get abused in that way. So I've made my peace with it. It's been an emotional weekend. I went to my friend's wedding and I was completely burnt out last night, but I'm back at my desk today and getting on with something that I'm excited about, which is hiding him. So I've just had a note back from the voice actor who's doing the audiobook, and he's given me a new sample. Jerry, which is my favourite character.
Jerry. The football lads. The same pricks that stormed science with water balloons and ruined my perfectly good blow dry? Absolutely not. I won't have them make a joke out of, our show. So the note I gave to Matt the previous version of Jerry, she was very posh, and she is supposed to have like Queen's English about her, but she sounded a bit too posh in that way, and she was a bit more sassy. But I said the note I gave to Matt was, imagine her eyebrow is up the entire time. Like, imagine she's like almost condescending in her approach, and so I think he's nailed it. We were also working on Finn because he sounded a bit too deep. He could have been confused with a bully. He's meant to be like, very mid-range voice and just a slightly different accent, almost like he's got like a London twang, but not South London like his mother. So this is Finn. Hi, Cam. Listen, I'm really sorry about earlier. I maybe didn't think before I acted.
Cover I've looked at over the weekend and like showed it to Gary and everything like that. There's a couple tweaks that I'm going to make, and then it is time to order the wet proofs as soon as I get the photos back from the photo shoot. And I've also signed up to NetGalley, and this is something my lovely marketing manager Gemma has sent through. That cost £475 for a 6-month membership. And then it was £70 to be able to have like a campaign linked to your book. So yeah, not cheap. Nothing is cheap in this process, but she said that that's probably one of the best things you can do for getting it in front of potential publishers who might want to buy the rights to it internationally or locally, and also just getting reviews for your book, because it's like it's no one's obliged to do a review for you. But any review is helpful, especially if it's a nice one. So if you're watching this and you've got the book and you want to review it on Amazon and give it loads of 5 stars, then that'd be great. So it's been a very interesting past few days. But we go on. Today is Saturday, April 30th, 2024, and the typesetter has come back with his first version of the book in its manuscript form, so you can see it just over here. And I'm currently going through every single page and then having to make some notes as to any changes that I want.
So here I'm basically putting together, like, on this page, please change it to this. For example, I've noticed that go through the manuscript, some of the chapters start on the left hand side when really I would like them to start on the right hand side, all of them. It's just a little niggly thing. And also to make sure that there's no hyphenation during the actual text, because I'm personally just not a fan of hyphenation.
One thing I really wanted for Hiding Him was for it to be as dyslexic friendly as possible. Both my sister and I, well, my sister's been tested, she definitely is. I'm pretty sure my dad is, and
I'm pretty sure I am. And hyphenation is just one of those things that it takes you out of the flow whilst you're reading. And if you're dyslexic, it can just send you completely off in a different tangent, and you can kind of look at the page and go, what was I even reading? That, and also commas in certain places. I think I spoke about this in the proof reading section, where, for example, she had put commas before and in a list, or before people's names. And even though that's the Oxford grammar way of doing it, there is quite commonplace to not have commas in those places, and hyphenation isn't like a requirement in grammar, I don't think. So there's a little tweaks that I'm making to make sure that it flows as easily as possible, because the writers I really love reading are the ones that make it as smooth a reading process as possible. It is Friday, the 3rd of May, and I feel sick because I am raising the purchase order for which is basically just the document you send over to a supplier to request a certain number of things, and in this case, it's books. And I've decided to order 6,000 copies. And I'm slightly terrified by that. I think, based on the number that I've already sold through my website and how many I would like the distributor to have on hand, I'm thinking it's the safest number would have been 5,000, based on everything I know. But I've just got a gut feeling that it's not going to be enough, and I'm just going to go with it. So it's costed me a bit more money, a little bit more than a bit, but I have faith. I really do. And the last thing I want is for it to go like crazy and everybody want it and no one be able to get it. Like, I don't want that. So I'm just going to go for it. If I end up with 2,000 books, 3,000 books, however many sat in a storage unit forever, then so be it. But I really hope this does well. I really hope it does well. It kind of has to. I'm ordering the books, so I feel sick. Like, even, I can't tell you the number because it's obscene, but just looking at the number that I'm paying out for this, I'm like, please buy it. Please. So, but this is exciting stuff. The typesetting is all done. I'm about to send the typesetting document, the PDF of like the print ready file, over to the person who generates the ebook. So the actual typesetting, that cost about £360 altogether. So turning it from the manuscript into the book. And the process took about a week from the moment I sent over the files. It's almost, in fact, to the day. And there was a lot of back and forth, and like, I would like this positioned a bit more up this way. And so there was probably 3 or 4 revisions that we went through. The person I was working with was hot on it. Like, every time I sent revisions, he was back within a few hours, which is, really helpful when you're trying to get things done. And then the ebook, I think, is going to cost about £180 to turn what the typesetter did into the ebook format that will be able to go onto Kindle and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Expenses! Now that I've ordered the books, I'm kind of thinking I have to start thinking about logistic things. So one of the things that I've ordered is these like cards, and these were from printed.com. They were quite expensive because they are like a cardstock that's got like a line of red in the middle. So if I tear this, I'll show you, you can see the red that comes through on the paper. This is a test one that I've done. So if you do that, ooh, how cool is that? So if someone's like, oh, that was nice, I'll just throw this away. If they tear it, it will come through like that. So yeah, the cardstock is also quite nice, and it feels very nice as well. You join me in pen testing. That's right, pen testing. So basically for the book, I am signing copies, and I need to find a pen that will work for signing. So I've pulled out a couple of books that I've already read,
and I'm writing in the back of the books with different coloured Sharpies and in different thicknesses of Sharpie as well. So this is the ultra fine point, and it's hard to find a pen that doesn't bleed through too much to the next page. The colour looks right, and also it flows quite nicely, because I tried this like red Sharpie, which is just like a standard red Sharpie, and like my tongue went furry because it was like a furry pen on a furry page. I was like, ugh. It's about 2 seconds since I last spoke to you. I'm currently on the phone with Gary. Hello, Gary.
Hello. My hands look massive.
It's because you're on an iPad.
Oh.
And I was like talking to Gary, and we're literally within. I'll turn you around so it's like we're presenting. There we go. Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
And I was like, what if no one buys it? And Gary was like, you need to put this bit in the vlog.
But I think you get that if you care about something.
Yeah, you do.
But the same could go with the vlog series that we've done. We were always nervy about the first episode going out. Like, do people still care? Do people want to watch?
Yeah.
And when they do, when there's like record numbers in like the live show or the premiere, whatever you want to call them, it's like, oh wow, people do care and they're lovely.
I just need to have faith in myself here and just quell that little imposter
Or
syndrome
just say to
devil.
yourself, it's done now.
Well, it is done now. I've sent the files off to the printing house. There is nothing I can do to change it. And what, in the words of I don't know who sang that song. What will be, will be.
Oh, whatever will be, will be.
Que sera, sera.
What's her name? Dame Vera Lynn.
In the words of Dame Valier, that one.
In the words of Linny Girls.
What will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. I love being a social media person. Someone has literally saved the day in the Instagram comments. So I made this test run of the dust jacket and how it's going to look and everything. And I've always filmed my videos with a mirror reflection. So when you're watching this, it's the right way around, but whilst I'm filming it, it's the other way around. And in staring at this as many times as I haven't realised which way I'm turning my head when I'm looking at the spine. And it's the wrong way around. And someone pointed out on the Instagram, they said, I think you've got the spine upside down, because if it's laying on its back, then it would be upside down. And I was like, really? I was like, no, surely not. And I literally go and look at the file, and I'm like, it's the wrong way around. So honestly, her username is McKay. McKay, you saved the day. Thank you so much. Thank you. Like, this is where it pays off to be self-publishing and having people check in on your experience. Because if I had just stuck to my guns, I would have ordered those wet proofs. Well, I have already ordered them. But, spent the hundreds of pounds, got it, and then been like, So I have sent them an email, a CPI, the company who I'm printing with, just to see if they can update the files. If they can't, they can't. The wet proofs will end up being something rare and special, I suppose. And at least it was caught before the actual print run. Like, that is the best thing about this, is that this was caught before thousands of copies got printed. Part of me thinks that CPI probably would have checked it over first and then told me. And I only ordered the wet proofs a couple of days before the weekend as well. So part of me thinks they haven't even necessarily started work on them yet. But close one. Here I was. Making a tea, and I was like, oh, I'll just go and check on the Amazon listing, because I posted about it today and it's randomly gone 10% off from Amazon, so I'll just go and check it. It's number 2 in the LGBT chart. In the LGBT bestseller list, it's number 2, and there are no reviews. No one has seen it. No one has even read it, apart from the people that I have actually given it to. Like, not even influencers, not even friends. The only people who have read it are me, Gary, Xanthi, and then the developmental editors and the proofreader. That is it. That is it. And like people have just like I can't like I Ooh, okay. There are people in the world that have literally got enough faith in me to pre-order a book that they don't know anything about apart from the blood. I just want to swear. I just want to. Do you know what I'm going to? What the? Like, seriously? Seriously? That's mine, but do you know how many copies you have to sell to become like number 2? It's not like 5. It's more than that. It's a lot more than 5, which means more than 5 people have put their faith in me, not only to pre-order it via my website, which I have, like those pre-orders have already come in. They've already like helped pay for the print run and everything like that. But now people are pre-ordering it on Amazon. Jesus Christ. Like, there is no handbook for what you do in this situation. I have literally just been walking around my room and pacing and like freaking out. Like, what do I do? What do I do? Because it's amazing, it's wonderful. If you happen to pre-order it on Amazon, thank you, I love you. This is the end result. it's like, serious, like, I'm not, there's like, normally I'd like call my publisher maybe and be like, oh, hi, publisher, so it's selling really well, isn't that amazing, yay! But now it's just like, oh, I'm self-publishing it. It's just, I just get to do this by myself and freak out in my house because that's all I can do. Ugh, goodness me. This is like the best, craziest, just bizarrest feeling notion thing in the world. I'm rambling, aren't I? I'm rambling a lot. Okay, so I am now going to go and eat my full body weight in these Tesco's cornflake clusters. Because, in fact, there's actually not many that left. Oh, that's sad. But everything else is great, so it doesn't matter! Last night I found out that Hidingham was number 2 in the LGBTQ plus chart. I haven't checked it yet. I'm about to check it now. Because it's either going up or it's going down. It's the bestseller. It literally says number 1 bestseller. Now what? Now what? Like, that means it's selling more than Heartstopper. Out of all books on Amazon, it's number 283. Do you know how many books Amazon sell every single day? What the? Like, seriously? It's literally, it's outselling 2 Heartstopper books in the top 5. Look, it's there. It is number 1. It's so early and I don't know. I feel completely numb. Adam's not in this body anymore. He is gone. Well, today's going to be a day. An amazing day. What a way to start the day. That is for sure. Today is such a weird day. It's so weird. Like, I just don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do with myself. It's crazy. Crazy. Like, it's a bestseller. I don't know what you have to do in order to officially be called a best-selling novel. Like, does it have to be given up by like a newspaper or something on a release week? Jesus Christ. Anyway, so I've tried to do some work. It's a bank holiday Monday, so no one's really at their desks, which is fine. It's one of my favourite days to work because when I send emails, I can, spend my time working it out, and then I get time in between that before they come back, which is nice. I listened to the first sample of the chapter 1 of the audiobook from Matt, and it's amazing. He has knocked it out of the park. It is so good. My favourite character he does is Dad. I don't know how he did Dad so well. Simon, officially. He's so good. So good. So good. So I'm very excited for you guys to be able to listen to the audiobook. I don't even know by the time... When will this vlog come out? No, you probably wouldn't have heard it yet. But anyway, so I'm not going to give away too much, but yeah. Bestseller, baby. Oh, what a day. Actually, it's only just... It's been a morning. It's been a morning. I've noticed that that's been a trend in this little writing vlog. It's been a day. It's been a week. It's been this. It's been that. But actually, it was a really, really lovely morning. I went to Stratford-upon-Avon, which is a town in Warwickshire, so the next county up from me. So it wasn't too far, and it was actually quite a nice drive because it is gorgeous today. It's lovely and sunny, and it's like got a beautiful canal, and it's a really, really beautiful town. I just love it. It's the birthplace of Shakespeare, for a fun fact, and that's also where the Royal Shakespeare Company kind of has their base. And I was scouting out a venue for my book launch event, which I am planning on hosting shortly before the book actually comes out. And that will be an opportunity to have some content creators, maybe press, but I'm guessing no. And also some loyal viewers / readers who may be able to attend as well. So I'm kind of handling the people who are like readers and viewers and stuff through my Patreon. And then Marketing Gemma, I've given her an allotment of people that she can invite content creator wise, and then she's gonna go out to them. And the brief that I've kind of given her is I prefer medium to small creators over really, really big creators, because I think when I was kind of coming up in the YouTube world, events meant a lot when you wouldn't normally get an invite to an event, and community is how you get places. I have found more than ever in this experience, and self-publishing and everything like that. If you've got a good community around you, they will support you, both in potentially pre-ordering the book or just rooting you on from the sidelines. And I've got a very loving community, and it's nice to give them the opportunity to be part of it as well. And it'll just create a nice vibe. It'll just create a nice loving vibe. Whilst if it was all like really big creators and press people, I just think it would be a work event and quite dull. So at least this way there's going to be some like love in the air, as it were, and fun. It'll be fun. And I've commissioned my friend. I'm wondering if by the time that this video goes out, whether or not it will have actually have happened. I'm guessing it won't have happened yet. So with that, I've commissioned a friend. It's not Gary, who I know is an amazing presenter and will do it justice in terms of having a little like interview thing with me, and then some Q&A from the audience, and working out about goodie bags so everyone can have like a copy of the book and some little things and some drinks and canapes and stuff. So I'm doing my thing. This is where I really thrive in creative processes. Like I've already thought like, oh, maybe we can have like branded menus so for the bar or something. So working on that. And then whilst I was there, I popped into the Waterstones, and I just got chatting to a lady who was there, and I said, hi, just wondering, do you do like book signings or events? She was like, we do. And I was like, is there a good person to speak to? She was like, I am that person. I was like, oh, hi. And I said, basically, I'm working on a book launch. It's coming out this time, looking to do an event. What do you think? And she was like, yeah, great. Do you want to come and see upstairs? And she showed me the upstairs, which was much bigger than the downstairs. And she was like, if we're going to do an event, we could do this, we could do this. And I basically was like, okay, well, I am the author. Hello. And whilst I'm self-publishing, I've got marketing involved. We're reaching out to some of the other Waterstone stores, but I live not far from Stratford, and it'd be lovely to kind of support my local stores, as it were. And she was like, yeah, we'd love to have you. And I kind of gave her like some of the sales figures. Just in this process, I think you kind of have to be very like, almost like you got to lean in and be like, so just so you know, it did become the #1 bestseller over the weekend. So I'm expecting more than 4 people. And she was like, So hopefully we will end up with like a little book tour going on where I can meet you lovely people and sign books, and it'll be awesome. It would be awesome if I can do this, if I can pull it off as well. Because I'm like, self-publishing with events and everything, it becomes a lot more difficult. And I thought this wouldn't really be possible, but having her reaction today, I was like, so this might happen. I actually might be able to go all over the country, meeting people and signing books. How good would that be? Right, I really need some lunch. And then I have got to confirm the order quantity again with the printing house and send over some files. Fun!
2 days ago, Hiding Him went live on a website called NetGalley. So, put my book on there in recommendation from my marketing manager, Gemma. And yeah, there's a lot of requests, which I found out is very rare, which is amazing and exciting. But now, 2 days after I actually posted it on there, my first review has come in on TikTok, and I've printed it out, and I'm going to be framing it because it's 5 stars. They said, this book made my stomach hurt from laughing so much. It's hilariously funny and so cute. Camafin's story is so sweet and draws you in from the first dog walk. Definitely recommend adding this to your TBR for any MM fans. One of the best reads this year. One of the best reads this year. And under favourite quotes, they put, too many one-liners to mention. I actually read that this morning, and it made my entire week, made my year even. Like, even if one person loves it, good enough for me. That's good enough for me. So that was from Lee. Thank you, Lee. I made the mistake of going back through my reviews to see them and read them, and now I'm crying. Oh God, like, people actually like it and people want to read it. This is the thing that's freaking me out the most. Like, I can't believe I'm here 18 months ago. Is that it? Yeah, thereabouts. 18 months ago, I finished this. And there was a whole lot... Was it longer than that? No, 18 months. There was a whole year of sending out to publishers and getting no's. And now people are reading it, and people like it, and people want to read it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I'm going to Disney World tomorrow. Oh my God. What is my life becoming? What is my life? What is my life? I am low-key freaking out. Well, I'm not low-key freaking out. I'm freaking out. So on NetGalley, people are in the media industry, in the publishing industry and everything. They can request to read your book before it comes out. And obviously Hiding Him's been on there for like a week or two. And I just got a very interesting request from a very ambiguous profile. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Didn't have many reviews. And I was like, okay, well, probably no. And before I hit no, I saw that they were like TV journalist. And in their profile, it said something about like scripted development for a TV network. And I was like, interesting. So I then Googled them, as one does. This person's high up. High up. So very interesting development. I'm hoping and praying something comes of this. But in their profile, they very specifically were looking for like YA and LGBTQIA content. So
What if this becomes a TV series? It's not even out yet! I mean... Christ almighty. What is my life? Also, I managed to email the ebook file to my friend Brogan, so she's now started reading it as well. And today's just been a really good day. I did loads yesterday and I was like at breaking point and had a very stressful evening, like restless sleep and stuff like that. But today I'm going away tomorrow for a Disney vlog series that I'm filming. And today was just like the last bits and bobs I had to do. And it went okay. So I'm pleased. I'm finally getting to the point now where other people are doing jobs and I've done everything I can do. So I just need to do some more like graphic design bits and bobs for merchandise items and stuff. Oh yeah, he's working on merchandise. So yeah. Oh my God, what if it becomes a TV show? I'm so excited. The only problem is it's way too sexy. Welcome to the new unit.
Alright, CP Books, CPI Books.
We are on the floor. We are seeing the book being printed. This is the case for hiding him that is all good and ready to go.
I don't know why I'm tearing up. It's not even my book.
You're tearing up.
Keep going, keep going.
Oh my God.
First ever copy signed and it's come to me.
Ah!